Lake Tahoe, snow falling heavy, mountains quiet, then suddenly everything changes. A peaceful landscape turns unforgiving. Here's what's confirmed, no fluff, just facts. A backcountry ski group near Lake Tahoe was caught in a powerful avalanche. 8 skiers have now been confirmed dead. 1 person is still missing. 6 others were pulled out alive hours later. Authorities say the group was finishing a 3-day trek deep in Northern California's Sierra Nevada mountains. This area is steep, remote, craggy cliffs, and buried under 3 to 6 feet of fresh snow. Sub-freezing temperatures, gale force winds, whiteout conditions. Earlier that morning, an avalanche watch was issued. Hours later, it was upgraded to a warning. Now, rescuers say somebody yelled avalanche, but the slide moved too fast to escape. 4 guides were on the tour. 3 are presumed dead. Victims were found closer together, while crews battled dangerous terrain just to reach them. Now, officials have shifted from rescue to recovery. Names are being withheld while families are notified, and investigators are now asking why the trip continued despite worsening forecasts. This is being described as the deadliest U.S. avalanche in nearly half a century. Here's the question I bring forth to the table for open discussion. How did a guided ski tour turn into one of the deadliest avalanche strategies in decades?
Following breaking news in the Sierra, it is a race against time. An avalanche near Lake Tahoe trapping a group of 15 backcountry skiers. This is what rescuers are up against tonight, near whiteout conditions along Interstate 80. Within the last few minutes, we got an update from the sheriff. 6 of the skiers have been rescued. Again, 6 have been rescued after sheltering in place for more than 10 hours. However, there are still 9 other skiers unaccounted for as we approach the midnight hour. It's about 22 degrees, by the way, and snowing. It is a dire situation.
That's right. That avalanche happened around 11:30 this morning as the backcountry skiers were trying to make their way to a trailhead. Now, they were in the Castle Peak area, and that's this area right here. It's to the west of Truckee as you drive along Interstate 80 towards Lake Tahoe. Now, NBC Bay Area's Tom Jensen is very familiar with that area. He joins us live from Colfax, where 80 is still shut down tonight. Tom.
Good evening. Yes, and that's an area that is known for avalanches. There was avalanche warnings in that area when those skiers set out towards the trailhead this morning. They did update those numbers from 16 to 15 in that party. So a miracle that those 6 were rescued. They're hoping for more miracles for the ones who are still unaccounted for tonight. This Nevada County Sheriff's Department video shows the first group of searchers setting out to rescue the missing skiers.
They're doing their best they can. They have taken refuge in an area. They have made up a makeshift, shelter with a tarp.
Former Coast Guard rescuer and longtime Sierra Mountain snow and backcountry skiing expert Kevin Coop Cooper says the conditions are treacherous for the rescue teams, too.
And we have about 45 individuals out there trying to get back into that Castle Peak Hut zone to get the 6 people in. It's dark now. Winds are blowing. It is still snowing 2 to 3 inches an hour.
Blackbird Mountain Guides reported just after 11:30 this morning that 12 clients and 4 guides were returning to the trailhead when the avalanche occurred, and 10 skiers are still unaccounted for. A member of the Bay Area Search and Rescue Unit questions why anyone was skiing in the area because there were already avalanche warnings posted.
To me, that signals we need to stay far away from avalanche terrain. Regardless of your experience level, the mountains don't know that you're an expert.
That avalanche warning remains in effect tonight, and more large avalanches are expected, according to the Sierra Avalanche Center. And the rescuers and the survivors are right in the middle of that avalanche danger zone.
And let's just hope that we find all 16 and everybody's okay at the end of the night. But this is tragic.
Again, those numbers upgraded now, 9 still unaccounted for. We do not know the identities of those 9 or if there are still searchers in the area looking for those unaccounted for. We hope to get more details from the Nevada County Sheriff's Department at a press conference late tomorrow morning. We're live in Colfax. Tom Jensen, NBC Bay Area News.
Overnight, we learned that several of the people killed were members of the Sugar Bowl Academy community. It's a private school and ski club, according to school officials. That as the snow keeps falling, and you may have noticed those mounds behind me, these are actually vehicles buried here, and this is one of the reasons that the sheriff here has said that they're going to have to wait on the weather and the avalanche threat to clear before recovering those bodies.
Someone saw the avalanche, yelled avalanche, and then it overtook them rather quickly.
A grim discovery led to the deadliest avalanche in California history.
8 of the 9 additional skiers have been located deceased. We are still looking for one of the members at this time.
Nevada County Sheriff Shannon Mood said Wednesday a football field-sized slab of snow slid off a mountain in the Castle Peak area about 10 miles north of Lake Tahoe Tuesday, swallowing a group of backcountry skiers.
Notable for an avalanche in the area of Castle Peak.
The group of 11 skiers and 4 guides was returning from a 3-day backcountry ski trip during a monster storm that dumped up to 7 feet of snow and lashed the mountains with 60-mile-per-hour winds.
It's been a challenging rescue, but it's also been challenging emotionally for our team.
Officials say one of the 9 victims was married to one of the rescuers. The other 6 members of the group were found alive after reportedly seeking refuge in huts.
They suffered some sort of injuries during the avalanche itself.
And now questions are being raised about why the group stayed up there more than 2 days after the first avalanche watch was issued, indicating large avalanches were likely in as little as 24 hours.
You know, those are the decisions that the guide company clearly had made. We're still in conversation with them on the decision factors.
In this social media video posted on Sunday by Blackbird Mountain Guides, the company that organized the trek, a guide warns that a weak layer in the snowpack could trigger unpredictable avalanches.
What's the best way to survive an avalanche?
Not put yourself in a position where you could get caught in an avalanche. Heeding the warnings, paying attention to the forecasting, sharing your travel routes, traveling in pairs, avoiding avalanche-prone areas.
And in a statement overnight, Blackbird Mountain Guide said all of the guides on that trip were actually avalanche instructors who were in constant communication with the company about conditions and routes.
There's an avalanche in Lake Tahoe where we have 9 people who are still missing. 6 skiers have been rescued, but 9 people are still being actively searched for as a result of this avalanche in Lake Tahoe. Today is February 18th, 2026, and this week we are living through chaos again, like every week. In addition to the avalanche in Lake Tahoe, which is an ongoing emergency, we also have incredible flooding coming out of Southern California as a result of this storm system and this rain, so please be careful. Many of the burn scar areas in California are also under evacuation warnings. Make sure that you are paying attention to your local news and media. In addition to the avalanche in Lake Tahoe, as well as the natural disasters happening in Los Angeles, we also have a big wildfire going through Oklahoma and Kentucky. So if you are in those areas, please make sure that you are paying attention to your news. There's been several evacuations happening there, also in Colorado. Just yesterday, we had a mass shooting event at a high school ice hockey game. It does appear to be a domestic violence issue where an ex-husband came in and started firing on his ex-wife and child. But several people were injured, as well as several people are now dead, and many more are injured as a result of this. And I got to say, guys, at some point, we're going to say enough is enough, right? Like, enough children are going to be shot or guns in public spaces. At some point, we're going to do responsible gun ownership, right? Because other first world nations, when this happens once, they pass laws, they pass reform, they pass tests to make sure that people have the cognitive ability to not go out and shoot people up. But yet in the United States, we have normalized this to the point where we are traumatizing our children and shrinking our own lives because we constantly have to second guess whether or not the place that we are is safe for us to take our families. And at this point, it's including the grocery store, a concert, our kids' high school hockey game, elementary school, high school, middle school, and on and on and on. And also last week, unfortunately, the SAVE Act has passed the House, which is essentially a proof of citizenship to be able to vote. But it is basically a poll tax. It is our modern day poll tax. And I need you guys to realize that. Well, it seems innocuous. Yes, we want to make sure that people who are voting are legally allowed to vote so that we can minimize any chance of sort of voter fraud. Although it's shown that voter fraud is incredibly low. This, however, is voter suppression. It's essentially a poll tax. It is our poll tax. And if you don't know what a poll tax was, poll taxes were small fees that were charged for people to be able to vote. And what it did was it disenfranchised Black voters and poor voters. There were literacy tests and there were fees to vote. It was to keep people from being able to. Black people who historically had not been allowed to have access to schooling and literacy were kept out from voting because they didn't have those basic skills because they were actively denied them by the government. And then there was this tax. But the 24th Amendment and case law outlawed these things. They said it is a constitutional fundamental right to be able to vote, and you cannot put any bars on it. And yet, just last week, the House passed the SAVE Act, which is our modern version of it. Millions of Americans do not have easy access to their documents on demand, a passport, a birth certificate, etc., right? Elderly women, elderly people from rural areas don't have birth certificates. Many of them were never even issued birth certificates, and it would cost them money to go get a certified birth certificate. Millions of Americans in the United States do not have a passport, and it costs money to get a passport. And so that is essentially a poll tax. Married women whose names don't match their birth certificates have a passport that doesn't match their birth certificate. They will need additional documentation to be able to prove they are able to vote or that they are who they say they are. That is discrimination and essentially a form of a poll tax. If voting requires money and document fees, it's a poll tax. And we need to be really clear about that, and we need to fight that. Also, last week, we had Pam Bondi sitting up in Congress talking about how there was no evidence to charge Donald Trump with anything or to even fully investigate him with a crime. There was no evidence that he had committed a crime. But let's be very clear, hard stop, okay? No evidence after no investigation into him is not a finding, it's a fucking choice. Okay, evidence to convict and evidence to investigate are two very different thresholds, and any first-year law student knows that, and I would think that the director of the Department of Justice would know that. And what we're seeing is around the world, these are open investigations. The UN is even saying that it may even come down to human rights violations, but the US is saying, no, there's nothing there. That's a choice, and that should not calm you. That should infuriate you. And we aren't mad enough. Now, once we come off the domestic front, right, because there's a whole lot to talk about, but we have Iran saying today that they have the weaponry to sink our warships. So we came out there guns ablazing saying we've got our biggest warships and carriers out there surrounding Iran and they should negotiate with us. And Iran came back and said, okay, we're sitting here at the peace talk tables, we're talking to you, but don't forget, we also have the weaponry to sink those warships and will if you keep posturing like this. Iran has said we're not coming here to play, and if you want to posture up like Battleship, we got you. And all of us should be paying attention to that because should that happen, that's full-blown war. Speaking of war, just yesterday in Niger, been comments that have openly called for war with France. Now, I was not even paying attention to Africa, to what was going on in Niger, aside from what happened with the assassination attempt in Burkina Faso and the fact that they were blaming France for that. It appears that the former colonies of France that separated themselves back in about 2023 are now being openly targeted by France, or at least they're saying that they're being openly targeted by France, and they are now declaring that they may be at open war with France, a whole nother front. And Russia has said, oh, we support Niger because as the war with Ukraine has been droning on, they've been making more strategic military alliances, and some of that is training in Africa. And then today, February 18th, 2026, the United States drops off 100 soldiers in Nigeria. Separate country, guys. Nigeria. Yeah, saying that we're there to train people to fight ISIL. Something's going on in the continent, and nobody's really covering it. So to be clear, and just to finalize that, General Bashar called population to prepare for war with France. So here's what we got on a recap, right? We have voting access being narrowed through paperwork. We have elite accountability basically being non-existent. It is being protected by the DOJ. And this is some horrific shit. Okay, we're talking about not just child rape, we're talking about cannibalism of babies. And as a society, if that doesn't make everyone enraged, there is no justification for cannibalism of babies. And if you try to justify that, you are the problem. But in addition to that, we also have major storm systems, not just in Los Angeles, not just the fires that are happening in the middle of the country in the United States, but we also have Portugal and Spain on the Iberian Peninsula that are under catastrophic once-in-a-century floods. The climate is changing rapidly. Geopolitical situation is completely unstable. And now we've got the whole new frontier to worry about that wasn't even on my radar, with the continent blowing up in what we are seeing here with Niger and Nigeria and Burkina Faso and Mali. So and France, right, going against France, because France's economy is tanking as their colonial grip, their colonial power on their previous colonies is slipping. Their economy is also slipping. And so now they're fighting to try and get their colonies back from people who are like, we will no longer be colonized. So we got a big problem happening there as well. Many, many fronts. And if you guys don't remember, we had the Russian general who was taken out in the middle of Moscow, and Moscow blamed Poland intelligence to be incorrect. And so that's a NATO member. So now we have all of these things converging all at one time. So geopolitical instability, no accountability of the elites. We have weather anomalies happening all over the world that are causing increased flooding, which is causing power outages, which is causing contaminated water, etc. I say it all the time, and I'm going to say it again. You need to get the book. You need to get the book, the Navy SEALs Bugging Guide. I put the link here all the time because I want to make sure you get the right book. But you need to get the book because it teaches you how to prepare. We've had power outages. We had notifications that our water wasn't safe. And because I had the book, I had things to prepare. The book helped us get there, helped me get there because I didn't know where to begin. And I'm recommending it to you because you need to be prepared. You can't fight a government that is protecting elites who are engaging in cannibalism of children and the arrest and exploitation and trafficking of migrants and children all around. Where are the 1,800 people out of Alligator Alcatraz? You can't protect yourself and your family if you are dependent on them for your survival in the cold, for water, for food, as things continue to change. So you have to be self-sovereign. This is not a warning. This is not fear-mongering. It is a call to preparation. The more prepared you are, the better able you are to fight off these systems that are coming for all of us. Take care, and as always, stay safe.